Good morning. This is Momo in the morning. Just wanted to give a happy day today. It's the second day that the businesses are slightly opened. You know, they can't make it being slightly open, but at least they're open and they can start making some money and maybe they won't go bankrupt. That's something we all got to pray for. So everybody should go out and go frequent them, keep them, get them some money and get them some business. I'm going to be going to as many businesses as I can today. It's Sunday, so I don't know which ones are open and which ones aren't, but I'll be going to them all and just walking around saying hi and maybe buying a glass of Coke or something. But whatever, but we all need to do that kind of thing. Taza and Ruby Gavi are good restaurants in Homer Glen, and they open up a little bit later in the day. Now, something's happening in our country that I think everybody realizes. It's all these protests that aren't really protests. They're really a bunch of people letting loose all their steam, whether it be from COVID or from what actually happened to that poor man. You know, I mean, I watched the video and it was like appalling. You know, that was like intentionally killing the guy. That's what it looked like to me. But at the same time, that doesn't give you the right to go out and destroy these businesses that are already hurting from the shutdown. All this is nuts. When people are shut down and they had nothing to do with what happened to that man, Mr. Floyd wouldn't want that. I don't understand why these protesters do, but I guess I do. They want to go out, some of them, and reap pillage on everything. They get kicks out of it, maybe, I don't know. But other ones, they just want to loot and rob. But that has to do with what's going on. Are we in a police state? You know, during this COVID crisis, some mayors and some governors, they acted like they were the king. They inflicted pain on us that was unnecessary. There were mayors where I lived that didn't enforce the guidelines per se. Then there's mayors that did. But when the ones that do enforce the guidelines, they're the ones that are overreaching. You know, that send the police to businesses to shut them down if somebody was inside of it. You know, they're not open. They own the business as private property. They should be able to be in there. It's not a matter of the business being open and selling to the public. It's like their private home, their private business. They should be able to do what they want inside of their business. That is a constitutional right. Well, that's what I'm aggravated about. How the heck can a mayor or a governor or a sheriff or a police chief or anybody that's in control that we put there, we the people put them there, and then they turn around and act just like somebody would act if they were a dictator. They say this is the rule, you got to obey, and if you don't obey, we're going to get you. And they do. You know, people were cited all over the country, and people were put in jail. I mean, this is insane. They let prisoners out of jail because they're afraid that the prisoners might be getting sick, but then they're putting people that are defending their constitutional rights in jail. Well, what about them? Aren't you afraid they're going to get sick? No, the answer is you don't want nobody standing up to you. You can't stand that somebody's going to not listen to the king. Now, we have the right to assemble. We have the right for freedom of religion. We have the right for due process. We have lots of rights. And they came with the Bill of Rights. They're inherent. They're given to us by God, not the government. Our government is people we elect. The people choose who the government is. And by God, I'm not ever going to support any person that acts like a king. And I think it's appalling for a king that is not really a king, let's call him a fake king, to stand on his throne or her throne and say, no, you can't do this. It's not your right anymore. I'm changing your rights. Well, who is that person to change our rights? And all this stuff is all based on flawed data, and I don't want to go into that too much because I've written about it, I've talked about it, but all this data is nuts. It's crazy. It's all false. Dr. Fauci, that little ant, first thing he says is there's going to be millions of people dead. Then he changes it to a lower number. Then he changes it to a lower number again. Then he says it's a lower number because everybody was obeying the guidelines. Then he says, you know what? You don't need a mask. Then he says you do need the mask. Now he says you don't need the mask. Then they say that hydroxychloroquine is no good. But all these other studies say it is good. So you can get what's going on. The people ain't stupid. They realize what's happening. In blue states like Illinois, New York, California, they want to get bailed out. So what, the people that live in Texas and Tennessee, Missouri, why should they want to have to pay for the bad behavior of our states? Just because our state can't make it and our state pays such high wages that all their government employees with the best benefits in the world, their pensions are outrageous. Their pensions are more than most people make in the United States. So why should they be bailed out? The answer is no, they shouldn't be bailed out, but they're holding out. That's what JB's probably hoping for, that the government, the federal government's going to come in and say, here's a bunch of money, pay off your pension debt. Well, it shouldn't happen. And I hope it doesn't happen because if they gave them money, they just figure a way of blowing that money within a year. So anyway, I want to wish everybody a happy Memorial Day. And it's really, I shouldn't say day, a week, but we really got a lot to think about what happens there with all of our past. The Revolutionary War, the Civil War, the World War II, World War III, that didn't happen yet, which is really happening without a battle. You know, let's just say a lot of prayers and get out and support our businesses. And God bless everybody.